Hello, fellow Flutterers. This is your host, Alan. I just wanted to let you guys know ahead of time that the audio recording that we did is not the best quality. My guest was in a little bit of a noisy place, so please excuse his audio quality. We hope that in the future, if we have another discussion with him, that we'll have a better audio quality for you. But in the meantime, please enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to Flying High with Flutter. I'm your host, Alan Wyma, and today I have a very special guest, somebody who I know personally, although not very well, Victor Tong. Did I pronounce that correctly, I hope?
Yeah.
So he is, well, I'll let him introduce himself, but the way I would introduce him is he's a very plugged-in developer into Flutter. And, why don't you go ahead and talk about yourself? So how about we talk about where are you from and a little bit more about your background.
Yeah, I am from Hong Kong. I've been in Hong Kong for the last 14 years. I grew up in Canada, uh, Calgary, Edmonton, so it's in Alberta. I do spend most of the time just making things work. That's everything I do. Is it good enough?
What do you mean by making things work, though? Why do you say that?
Because in the software development world, they got lots of stuff. Like you got the designers, you got the coder, backends, and other parties in the game. So my job is actually put things to order. So basically, I grab a design document from my designer, I put in the app as a footer, and then I deploy it. So that's what I do every day.
What's your process when you actually do something like this? How do you actually do it?
Uh, it's a lot of changes from what used to be felt further. We used to be pretty slow because we using Android Studio, Xcode. We have to do it one by one, and we got test both version at different time frame because we involve different people, and then we'll test it against the same group of client, and then it's just very tedious. But now with Flutter, we just do it live. It means live means that we actually go to the client's office. We just talk about, hey, how you guys want it, and even without designing, I just go in and I just type it out, and they will see the UI, the logics, and I can make a deployment within the same day.
So how does that process work, though? Because I think the way you do it is kind of a little bit different than other people, right? Because you have some kind of tool to kind of help you with that you kind of developed yourself. So maybe you can explain a little bit more about that. And if you have a demo, of course, you can show us.
Yeah, sure. Um, I can just share my screen right here.
And please be verbose when you explain, right, for people who may just be listening and not actually watching.
Okay. So basically, I have a app builder in the app forms. It doesn't. It's not in the market. That's a tooling that I built for myself to create a UI with different functions, so I can actually using my tablet just create an app for a demo, for use case, and test out what kind of functionality people want. Is it the way you want it? The way it works is so simple though. You just create, you have a create button, and then you have another cell phone, probably an Android or iOS phone. You just click one app, and then once.
Wait. Let's stop for a second. Sorry to cut you off, but you're actually using Flutter to create other Flutter apps, right?
Yes, it's more than that though. It involves a couple party, a couple functions. It would do a code generation for scaffold. We have a CLI creating a scaffold, so I can put the widgets inside of on the widget tree. So everything has to be dynamic, right? So in order to do that though, we also need to some sort of state management. We probably can talk about later. But basically for our use case is so you just have to click for like what kind of stuff, what kind of app you want to build. And then we just click and it will be alive soon. It's not that fast. I forgot to pick the live mode, and then we pick the Sotobi app. Is it the kind of app we want to build? So we can see the clients like the reaction. Hey, is it uh, this kind of app you want to build, or is it something like a fashion clothing app you want to build? So you can dynamically generate a lots of apps on demand without actually go through the process. And once we design the direction, like the people, hey, this is how I want it, and I can say, you know what, we can build from scratch. How's that? We can talk about, hey, what kind of primary color you want? You want something fancy color, or the theme of your thingy. I can turn on to our stock mode. We also have the animation builder. There's a built-in, so we can see what kind of animation for your widgets, so we can play around like, hey, you do want something like that in your app, or is it something that you're looking for to build the widget? So people want fancy stuff, so we just a built-in app builder with a built-in animation builder, so we can test it at the real time. We also have a theme builder. We can take care about all the colors based on material design and how they want the color and how they feel about the app. But for most of clients in Hong Kong, we skip that part. We just go straight for lots of uh, demo app. Let's say I want a splash, I want some like planets. Those are available in uh, in the market. So we grab that as a demo, so we understand what kind of things they want to do, and then we work it from there. So we can just go for, hey, this is a library app, this is a movie trailer app. It, it depends on the client, right? So I can build something really quick, really simple, and I can work from there. Does that explain how we do it?
Yeah, it does. I'm kind of curious about the animations, right? Can you actually preview the animations from within the builder, or you need to actually play with it on the side, or how does it work?
It was more like uh, it was it's a it's a finite state library, so I'm not supposed to talk about that.
Okay.
But anyway, I show you how. So so everything. Well, let's talk about my background. Right, my background is a C# programmer. I worked with Windows for so long, so we'll probably have to go back to the stick for a bit, so we can get some background first and see how's that technology works for.
Yeah. So how about we start from there, right? How did you go from C# to being a Flutter and kind of Dart advocate? I would say because you also pushed me to it. You said, "Hey, you got to do this. You got to do that."
Yeah,
You introduced me to Block. So
yeah.
please tell us.
Oh, so I work with C Sharp because I'm a Octopus developer. Octopus is a thing in Hong Kong for payments. So Octopus card is something like this guy.
Yeah, it's basically like a transit card, but you can also use it to pay for other things like 7-Eleven. You can buy there, or any store that
Yeah,
accepts Octopus as a payment method. Okay, that's
yeah.
interesting. So then what happened?
The business actually going really well for the last 10 years. But the thing is that is not for designed for startups. But I picked up my skill as a defensive programmer from Octopus, because there's lots of document testing, like widget testing for the device and the system. How stable is your system? How well the device interacting with the system, and how's the hardware requirement, right? So I've been doing it for so long, and I know pretty much like how well the device, what's the limit of the device, and how well it play, right? And I think I have a pretty solid background on the hardware and the software development. But I was thinking, I might just pick a startup for Octopus, right? That sounds like a great idea, right? Well, once you get through actually to the stages, kind of bored with the work, you're probably thinking about, oh, I should make a startup with my C# skills. Uh, and then I go to hackathon. I go to hackathon to try to grab a better understanding like what people use, right? But I realized that after a couple hackathon, they just no one doing like Windows .NET framework for a startup. So I realized that it just doesn't work, right? And then C# was limiting to the Windows platform. It was very tough to actually get away from Windows. ADO.NET, .NET 7.5, 4.5, and all bunch of technology that were designed specifically work with Windows. So Azure and other things. Then I searched online and watched some YouTube, and one day just the guy show up. His name is Matt. He's just so good. He talks about how do you build a very unique UI, or at that time, right, very fancy, very well constructed UI. I was like shocked. Wow, this is really good. This is exactly what I'm looking at because I'm suck at the GUI, and I
Yeah.
cannot work on Adobe XD. I mean, I don't have the graphic skills. I'm just not able to do it, right? And then I pick up some like documentation from Flutter original website, and then I was hooked because the document is just so good. I mean, seriously, because C# in Windows, everything you have to make a guess. They're code source, they're undocumented, and they follow certain rules, but they got like thousands technology, right? They got Rust, they got just tons of information, the PF, and all kinds of stuff. It's just very complicated. But for Flutter, it's just two things. Dart, the Flutter itself. The Flutter itself actually is a canvas. But the thing is that Dart is so simple because they simplify things the primitive. The primitive will be something like, oh, we used to invert to for like 64 and other crazy numbers. And now we just go for like number, double, integer. That's it. Because they were designed for people actually interpolation with other frameworks. So they was basically saying, hey, this is more generic, but it's just easy to work with. And then I start making like actual UI. It just took me like literally like one night. I just got picked it up. So that's pretty much how I got from C#, Windows, and then go to Dart.
I see. Are you working with anything else nowadays? You still using C Sharp, or are you totally on Flutter, or how about your
Now
work right
I'm
now?
working on Python. I spend most of my time with Python. Actually, why? Because I already feel comfortable working with Flutter because I can pretty much build anything or what my current skill level is saying. I can just without Adobe XD, without Designer, like nothing, absolutely nothing. I just go in, I can pretty much type it out any UI people want on demand. So I don't have to any design tooling, just type it out. This is the way you want it. And I'm ready, right? But then when you go to the next stage, you have to work on the back end. The back end is kind of complicated because we're using lots of Docker microservices and how to orchestrate like different technology together, right, in the back end because the UI is already done. Like back end now, I have to do lots of machine learning, uh, and then I also do uh, finance stuff. So we talk about automation. That's why we have to spend majority time with Python with some technology called Fast API, because a Fast API is a game changer. So basically, it's just saying I used to be doing Python as a microservices. It's tough. It's very tough. But because of performance, the Python itself so slow. And then we have that exciting technology called Fast API with Docker. So we can just working with tons of like AI services and basic everything with punching numbers, like and like data sciences, machine learning, or what kind of crazy stuff, which is stuck in the Fast API. And then we just rocking with tons of microservices and a work document. That's how I spend my day with backend.
Can we talk a little bit more about Fast API? Because I do hang out a little bit in the Facebook groups of Flutter, and quite a few times people have actually asked questions about, should I use API, should I use Firebase, or should I use Fast API? And honestly, I've never really heard of Fast API until really recently, within a week ago.
Oh,
So what is this thing exactly?
okay. So Python is a pretty messed up actually ecosystem. They have literally like hundreds of Python. They have what Iron Python and C Python and a bunch of Python designed for like micro Python for different things, right? But uh, Fast API was designed for or based on the thing called Starlet. It's basically a Pythantic thingy about Python, just like a religion thingy. So you have to follow these kind of rules to actually get this thing to work. So, and then Fast API was designed for let's talk about performance first, right? Why we care. The performance we get is the same as getting as a goal. So, well, not like that's just pretty close, right? But not exactly as fast as goal. And but you got all the type. It's more like more than API development. So you got the very neat valve. You got the document generation. We got the Swagger documentation, and then we can test it. It's completely readable. So basically, like a full suite of tooling designed for make your machine learning, AI predictions, design as a service. Because Python is really good with a numeric computation. Like there was pandas, they have what's it called, NumPy. Uh, those are tools are designed for work numbers. So we spend majority of our time actually working on the back end to do a company automations.
How does Fast API? Well, yeah, it seems like it's a way to make APIs a little bit faster and more efficient than typical ways that you would do in Python. Is that correct?
Oh, it used to be just tough. You have to go for Django Wow because you have to do it's so Fast API compared to our framework in the Python's async native. Basically, it's just saying it's one thing that stand out. It's just async keyword. Is asynchronous frameworks designed for APIs, right? Because in Python used to be just pretty slow. We have to using like uh 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 we're using lots of MQ to delay our work because it used to be just not that easy. Yeah, MQ for design for micro like messaging query. So we have lots of Redis and MQ actually get something to work. But now I just saying, hey, you know what? I got this thing away. I just bang. Hey, this is good enough. This is really good. If I have like large scale stuff, I have to do some like MQ and Redis to actually cache my query, and it just saves time for Fast API, and it's pretty solid, pretty stable.
It kind of reminds me of Flask, actually, if I'm looking at some of the code online right now. I mean, when I look at some of it, it really reminds me of Flask. I mean, if you know Flask already, do you think you can pick up this Fast API quite quickly?
Oh, Oh, very good question. Fast API is not designed for microservices, actually.
Okay, so it
So,
has to be a
well,
monolith
that's a
then.
two different. Yeah. So, in Python, we do Django and Fast. Basically, there's only two. Like majority of people
Hmm.
only do two. One is like everything included, so it's Django. And the Fast is more like just do whatever you want, right? Flexible, blah blah blah. But it's not fast enough. It's not asynchronous in nature because Django we got the ORM. Fast we have a little bit ORM too, but they're not that fast. I mean, seriously. You think about terms of performance, Fast API is the only one way to actually kick up in doing a Docker Compose, a cloud native environment. You got all the what's it called, IntelliJ IntelliSense. So we got the model exception, the serializer, ORMs, what you name them basically. But the thing is that we don't want to actually put everything together. Like we want to
Hmm.
divide and conquer because in a business world, like our clients is MTR Hong Kong, we have a Rob and bunch of listed companies. Like they don't have requirements. They say, hey, I have this problem right here. Can you fix it?
Hmm.
Like, can you actually get something to work in a day? That's their question, right? Hey, like we just literally happy with microservices because everything can swap. I can just pull it down, pick up, like put it back within the day without downtime. That's how we deliver our product.
I'm actually kind of curious. How come we just didn't try using Dart in the back end? Because Dart, I think, seems like a pretty fast language. It compiles natively, right? Especially recently. So why not just use Dart since something you can use in front end and back
For
end?
backend,
Yeah, for back end.
problem with Dark is that we're using Dark as a code generator, like the output that I showed you. It's really fast on the on the back end. It's like nanosecond for code generation and we compile and visualizing. It's really fast, very efficient. But the thing is that in the Python, like in the science people point of view, right? We talk about pedantic means like we have to be uh, we don't have slide in Dart, like slicing and dicing the pandas away because we just don't have it. For a large data set, we just don't have like simple tooling for that kind of scenario. Why I can do it, but it's not that efficient. But still, Python have a nice library called pandas. So I just have to a couple lines. They are just like doing typing, sorting, transform the way. If you want to do machine learning on Dart, that would be insane. But the thing is, that we're not ready yet. So we spend time on doing Python for backend.
I got it. Okay, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think is the most interesting project you ever had to work on for a client?
We actually started not too long ago. Our company only 2 years. Uh, uh, we actually work for pretty much all the major listed company in Hong Kong already. So we have basically every project is interesting because we do not have the template. This is more like a customer driven. We
Hmm.
do I recently have a project. It's more like uh, it's called Dignity Kitchen. It's basically we're helping the disabled people to get a job through our app so they can like FaceTime for in the restaurant. But the people actually the worker the server is disabled, right? They're crippled. But the thing is that we I think it's more like helping the society get people get involved from get a job. You just have to be using Flutter, make an app on a tablet to do FaceTime with a machine like a Temmie. We have a robot there to make delivery. So so I can see it's more use case as people have the money, they can actually allow people get jobs.
So
So
for this,
is it interesting enough? It's
yeah, no, it's interesting. But you just mentioned something about this robot, right? You use Flutter on a robot, is that correct?
yeah. Yeah, we developed a Flutter plugin that was designed for robots. So we because most of the robots in the world actually is Android based. So we do
Okay.
interpolation from an Android native transform to Flutter. So actually it's open source. So we open source our whatever robot plugin to community use. So we just, it's a due diligence, you have to do something for the give back to community.
So what does this robot actually do? And do people actually use this plugin?
Oh, basically it's just a moving tablet. For me, it's just a robot that can actually navigate itself in the environment. It can speak. They can have a native engines. So you can remote it as yourself. So you can do like a telepresence of yourself in a meeting. It's called Temmie actually. It's a guy from Israel developed this kind of a part job on LinkedIn describe what kind of robot it is. It's this a personal robot designed for you uh, navigating space. So, but you can talk about a lot about that robot because it's kind of like a booming business in Hong Kong. So
Really? I've only seen that robot one time.
yeah,
I've only seen it in some co-working space. I can't remember now. But yeah, I do remember seeing this robot. The robot,
yeah.
I
Actually,
mean,
there's
let's just say the robot just reminds me of like a tablet or an iPad on a vacuum cleaner. Is what it looks like
yeah,
to me.
yeah. That's exactly what it is. But hear me out. The function it carry out now we be a sanitize, right? We talk about cleaning the house, right? So we actually cook. We actually have a sanitize kit that was designed for that robot. So it walks around cleaning the house. It would make delivery. Um, Basically, that robot, every Hong Kong hospital will have one of those robots. Every Hong Kong hospital, that's like a couple thousands already, right? Every like the senior house, the senior people house, every senior house in Hong Kong, people like they will have one of those Temmie in their room. Okay, so you are too young for it. So basically, actually, that machine, that robot, is already deployed in thousands already.
Just in Hong Kong. There's thousands in
Yeah,
Hong Kong. Is that right? Okay, interesting.
about 6,000. I've actually 6,000 robots. Yeah, because lots of them still in beta. Some of them were designed for internal. So you don't, they don't want you to see it yet because they were still, because they think about security. That robot walks around, so they think about security. They think they may people steal it and do some damage to it. Actually, we got lots of work from Temmie, but we also got work all over the world. We got work from Italy. We got work from United States. We also got work from China for now. So we got some new jobs coming in, and we just make it work. So
Wow, that's quite exciting. How
yeah,
did you guys
it's
manage to
lots of
get in
work.
touch with How did you manage to get in touch with Temmie? Actually, that's quite interesting because they're all the way out in Israel, right? Not like they have a base in Hong Kong, I think, right?
Yeah, actually, the Chinese guy is big investor in Hong Kong. So we met him in the Rise conference. I think it's about 2 years ago. I think it's a Rise conference. I can't remember.
Yeah,
It was a Rise
there's a
because
Rice
we are
conference.
the Rise conference, and we are the one of the participant in the pitch. Yeah, we are our startups actually pitch in a Rise conference. They invite us and we talk about our app builder. And, the guys say, you know what, the robot needs some app, so why don't we just work on it? And that's how we start.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah,
I think if we want to bring this back to Flutter, right?
yeah.
Like, there's a lot more kind of cross-platform and other ways that you can write apps. Why should people care about using Flutter compared to like React Native or Ionic or whatever else?
Hmm. I tried them already though because they have their own problems. For Flutter, I don't have any restrictions because Flutter for me is a big canvas. I don't really care like what kind of stuff they put on. I just stuck it as a widget. I put them on. It's there. I have full control. And developer experience is really, really good because I using IntelliJ a lot because I used to be a C sharp programmer, right? I using tools called ReSharper. So the keyboard exactly the same about as I used to be like 10 years ago. So developer experience extremely, extremely well for Flutter. Like I can do my own plugin for Flutter for CLI code generation. They actually built in. It's called SourceGen for code generation. So if you want to get into a more like advanced tooling for Flutter, is available. But for Ionic stuff, they do all kinds of translation. It's not that fast. I mean, seriously, how fast can JavaScript run on phone? But I'm not saying it's not like, well, I could not make it work as fast as Flutter. But the thing is that JavaScript has its limit. Like you have to go for iOS and Android. If they update, the library's not update yet, so you're stuck. What are you gonna do, right? You actually have to go in and make a PR. That's kind of crazy. But I just have lots of projects I have to move on, right? I can do some tricks to actually make the in Flutter. I can do some tricks to actually stop that function for a couple of days, so I can get into the App Store. In JavaScript, we cannot because they can have an app bundle. They have whatever bundle, Webpack, React. React is crazy too. React is like Expo, React. You have to know the library really well. You know the JavaScript. I don't know how good your JavaScript skill is, but for me, JavaScript is crazy. You know, it's not like, oh man, wow, this is kind of cool, but how do I do native stuff? It's very tough. I cannot isolate like what kind of stuff is native because in Dart I can choose like, oh, this function has to be native, or this function could be just using plugins, right? I have the option to choose, right? But in JavaScript, how the hell do you do native, right? I don't know how because you have to actually go into Expo and then do a plugin, and then you do JavaScript on top of it. Well, that takes too much time. Then I just work on native, right? I don't have options. I have to go into native. But for Flutter, I have a big canvas here. Hey, I can do whatever my UI want. Backend surface, I just go into I can do hybrid, like I can do a native and well. So basically, it's a long story, but it's just saying, hey, you know what, Flutter, you can do hybrid native. Like can do something crazy. And with Java Reacts, you can do that, but it's just kind of tough. At the same time, you spend on it probably double, triple, but in Flutter, it just half.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Um,
It's
so
a long story,
I,
but
it's okay. You can go into some of it if you like.
oh, you don't want to get into Expo and stuff like that. That was because functional program. We talk about original problem, dependency.
Hmm.
Well, let's talk about one simple problem here, right? How much it depends on using React Native. Well,
Hmm.
let's see, right? React Native. Well, we sure need some bundler, right? We need some webpack, right? Bundler crate, okay? Transpiler, right? We talk about barbell, ES5, ES6, okay? You do all kinds of stuff. And then we have actually going to native. It's just so slow. Like you cannot get 60 frames without putting like optimization. Simple.
Yeah.
How often you see 60 frames per second? You see some figure on your phone with React Native, but you see where on the Flutter, and then how much dependency will depends on a React Native punch. Like a lot of stuff, everything can go wrong. But for Flutter, it's just you get it up, they will give you a sample project. It's already running, even though it's just a content, right? As simple as that. That's a big comparison from React Native. You set up the environment. Uh, it's just so much pain. That's my soul with React Native. I used to do it. I used done isomorphic with React. Isomorphic React is more like a isomorphic mean like a website and server-side rendering, and then React Native come to play. So there's all three at once. But I have tough time just maintaining about it because it's just so tough. Like they have interdependency, like which one switch, and then you just stop sometimes. From time to time, not sometimes. From time to time, you get stuck.
Yeah. I do have a question for you. At least one of the things I noticed in Flutter, which, it's kind of a little bit annoying, is that there's more than one way to do state management. And it kind of like, and also Google itself keeps changing their minds about what they kind of recommend, right? So I guess the first question is, what do you use for state management? And then the follow up for that one would be, why do you think this is such a complicated question and problem within Flutter?
Okay, so let's start with beginning. So we used to have, I personally use Bob a lot, a Bob pattern.
Block, right? BLOC?
Yeah, Bob pattern by the guy named, I forgot his name actually. Actually, I was involved with Bob pattern early days. I think his name is, it's hip hop, so.
I can get you his name because I remember it. I'm actually planning to try to get him on.
Yeah, he's really good. I think he's a guy from New York. He used to work in BMW.
Oh,
I was getting involved with a Flutter Robot pattern way back, and then we
that's
chatted a lot.
Felix, right?
Yeah. That the guy looks
Uh-huh.
really crazy here, and he's actually really good. He's a really good one of people actually figure out something that will change in the industry because Bob pattern is the way working with events and apps. I used to be, just working on a bunch of, because in the app, there's a couple components, right? You got UI, you got interaction. You also have a state. And state, how do you manipulate state? State have two different side, right? One's a global state, one's local state. So how to work with those states would be crucial for how you manage what's the truth of the state. Like sometimes you just have a big application, you don't know which one is the truth. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Because you
Yeah.
got so many moving parts, right? This guy changing, but where the hell is the truth? Well, you don't know because it's keep changing. React used to have a way to solve it called Redux. And then later they have something called MOX. And then both of them are pretty good. I think it's a very good methodology. They both have a similar pattern. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm from C Sharp, right? I'm from C Sharp guy. C Sharp, we also have something called events. We have an event bus that actually take care of our state, which is, no, they don't have that in way back. People just don't have the kind of technology not available. So I using block pattern to make my state work. It's much more easier. So I don't have to.
Maybe you could tell us about how Blackpen actually works, because maybe not everybody uses it.
So block pattern, underlying block pattern have a couple of things. They have reactive Dart. I'm from the C# people, right? We're using RX C# for stream of a stream. So a stream as an event. So block pattern, three things: RXstart, one thing, and provider, as in here the widget, and we also have an event system that you're controlling my state.
Well, I think at least to me, the way block works is that you have something called an event, right?
Yeah.
And then the event has to be sent to the block, and the block stands for business logic component. Is that right?
Yeah. Basically, well, it's very tough to actually put in a box because it's very hard to pronounce, right? You think about a box. A box is a box itself. You cannot rotate, cannot change. So it's always two, right? It doesn't change. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter what it is, right? It's the same thing. It doesn't move, right? So every time it changes, it's a new box. How's that? Right? You
Yeah,
change the
true.
color. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, have to imitate means you cannot change. So I can get performance.
Mm-hmm.
You get that part, right? Not rotating
Yeah.
actually gain performance. So you get a new one, basically. Every new one every time, right?
So data is basically immutable, right?
Immutable, yeah, that's the word. That's the key word actually. But immutable first you have to do that to accomplish that kind of ideas about maintaining state, so we can get performance. Second part about RXstart, they actually work with stream changing of events, and then we have those toolkit in place. I can use and passing around as a provider. Provider means I can grab something on top of my tree than the bottom. So I don't even care where I'm from. I just can pass it around so I can use it.
Okay.
And so that's actually the thought pattern on a nutshell. It's just a way to actually rotate your state so you can do manual event at any time you want.
Yeah, I mean the way I think of block pattern is like you said, you got your block at the top of the tree. Whenever you want to do something, something happens, you send an event up to the block, and then the block will emit down the state, right? And that kind of really follows a lot of ideas, even from like React, right? Where an event comes up, you bubble that up to the top. The top handles the state change, but all the state will bubble down, right? So, or even a lot of other ones too, because React also kind of copies off of Elm, if I remember. HOF.
Yeah, that's called the HOF, high order component, or HO something. That's kind of messed up world about that kind of state because you got nesting. And nesting means you have in a C# people used to say we do composition rather than inheritance. So we don't pass things around. We compose the thing that we need to actually do our thing, not just like passing around. Passing around is a bad thing. But sometimes you have to do it because it's so simple. But we try to avoid that kind of stuff in the Flutter. So that's how I achieve the app builder in the app form, so it can create itself. And I also do isolating because Dart also support isolate. Very crazy idea about isolate too. Isolate is a big topic for messaging query and Akka. Akka framework is it's like Elixir. So basically, Phoenix, those are kind of idea, very powerful idea with Dart itself. It's built in. I mean, how often you get that kind of stuff, right? You got isolate, you got the crazy UI as a canvas, you got the extensibility. Now, if they have extension methods, just like C#, now C# has
Mhm.
It's extensions. And then we can talk about probably later in dark link, just like C Sharp has. It's called link. Is more like doing query on the thingy on the object itself. So we have list of something. You have just query. So I don't have to go for a bunch of like syntax to actually get something filtered. I just have to link. So that's another topic. So I mean, from my perspective, sharp like Dart is cross platform. You just like what else you gonna ask for, right? This is the best you can get.
Well, you say it's the best you can get, but I mean, there must be something that. Well, actually, my next question, I think, is a good question to ask, right? Because I don't want us to only say Flutter's great for everything, because we all know that there's nothing that's a silver bullet, right? So, what is Flutter
Hmm.
good for? What's its sweet spot, and what is it not good for, in your opinion?
It's good for iOS, Android, but not good for the website yet because website one of the requirement for commercial is doing SEO. You know, they have to do some like optimization for search engine. It's not available yet, and then we it's not good for like reading blog posts like Medium. You know, those are boring website like simple layout have to clean lots of text. They are not good for though because Flutter Web is designed for what's it called progressive web
Like
app.
a SBA or
So they're
something, a
not.
PWA, yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, PWA is a PWA. It's not designed for like a simple website. You know, there has to be interaction to make it useful. If you're actually doing like a simple one, like commercialized website, you probably have to do some Next.js. That's one of client using Next.js was it's pretty funky actually. That Next.js is quite promising for React because they could do a server side rendering. So Flutter actually most of the time you just have to a bit. If it doesn't work, you go to native. So that's like first thing you do, and then Flutter for web. Uh, uh, I mean, that's the best you can get too. PWA, like for free. I'm seriously. Single code base.
Mm.
It works really well for us.
So, do you actually have any web apps in production now using Flutter, or not yet?
Yeah, yeah, we do. We're using our protection for Swire. Swire is a company in Hong Kong, make house. I think it's a listed company. I think I forgot what was it. Swire Property. Yeah, Swire Property is a listed company actually. We do their internal
Okay.
apps on the Flutter Web. That was the internal website. So they're more than happy to use it because of development time. We got a very short thing, in about what 2 weeks. We have delivered in 2 weeks, and they're happy.
Yeah, I actually just tried out the Flutter Web yesterday. Some client sent me a design that he wanted me to do in HTML, but I just saw the design and it just immediately reminded me of some things in Flutter. So I just did it in Flutter in about 3 hours, including the times that I messed up on a couple things. So, but I delivered
Oh,
it. They loved it. But yeah, they need some SEO, so that's why it couldn't really work out for them. But in general, I'm quite happy with it. Also, I know you
it's so
mentioned something, and
simple,
so
though.
I know both. Sorry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
It's CSS is tough actually. You have to do like SCSS. You know, CSS not that easy.
Yeah.
I think in Flutter the color because in the color system for Flutter is more accurate.
Mm.
The hexadecimal do not have alpha value, so don't have transparency. But in Flutter we do.
Mm.
So we instead of working with hex, we can actually have more control of the color system. So design system has the design is what 1920 times whatever. But the thing is that the color is
Hmm.
not accurate. Most of the time people think, oh, this is color, but it's not. But in the Flutter, it's always consistent. We also have alpha value, like how what the hell is it called? We got two more numbers. You got two more numbers in front of it. So basically, they were saying that this is the
Yeah, the
exact
alpha.
color.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's.
So it was helping us out a lot because it was design.
I remember now. You helped me to remember is that there's web safe colors, right? And so
Yeah.
you're saying that even Flutter is actually using colors that are actually more than web safe. Is what you're saying. So in my browser, I
Yeah.
could actually see colors which are not actually web safe.
Oh, it's more like matching the design problem, not about those like standard. Like how the hell you matching a design
Mm,
with your productions? How right? Do how like people will say, hey, here's my color, here's my thingy, here's my 20 hundreds design mile. Like you have to match it. This is the rules. We're a big company. I pay for you. You have to do it. But the thing is that if
mm,
without Flutter, it's very tough to get that exact color. Like the hexagon will mess up because it probably the design is not Adobe XD, part of Illustrator, part of Photoshop. It just mess up,
mm,
right? You have to figure out the color first. That's a simple problem. But with Flutter, I have alpha value. It just works exactly the same. With React, it's even tougher. I with hexadecimal. This is crazy. So it's a column problem that I struggle.
actually, what I usually struggle in is with Flutter. I feel I can really create anything I want to create. I think you probably feel the same way. But how do you actually design an app if you don't really have much design sense? Because I don't think you and I both have much design sense compared to an actual designer. So, but you said with Flutter, you can basically design whatever and people are kind of happy with it. So how do you go about your designing your own app style? How do you do all this without actually having design concept?
Yeah, well, basically, I have a set of tooling like Theme Kit. So basically, nobody talks about theming. Well, let me talk about it because theming actually can help you generate different styles and stems. When you see what you look at, Google Fonts have already thousands of fonts available. Like people talk about apps now, it's just about fonts, visibility, a set of like a text, like how weighted font is, how display, how user experience is, type of user experience, how fast is your app, right? That's what they care. Talk about I got the general sense about their this guy. Let's say let's grab example. Some big housing company in Hong Kong developer, right? Want to do a promotion. Want to do like a promotion people, like how they need some brochure, right? They need some pictures, blah blah blah. They will send you a piece of paper saying, hey, I need this kind of thing. I'm gonna give you 2 days. Well, you can try grab a designer for like, well, they work will probably take like 10 hours, right? But you've only got 2 days. And they say, oh, okay, fine. Then I just go in, grab their website. Oh, this kind of style, the color they're looking for. Let's see if they want to print a document is. You just copy it. I mean, it's just literally take a picture of the design and transferring their styling into an app. And you don't even need like Adobe XD design here. You just take a picture or whatever, and then you grab the color, the design, the thing, uh, to get to work. Simple as that,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
Is that answering your question and how you do it, or how I do it?
Yeah, yeah. The way I would say it is you basically already have a bunch of kind of like a bunch of pre-made designs already or something like that. And you just build upon that, right? Based upon their
Yeah,
theming, their
basically it's
website,
trend.
so forth.
Yeah, it was so straightforward though. People, we talk about consistency. That's just consistency of the company. They would give you actually their identity guide, like this is my company. Well, it's not my
Oh,
company; it's a listed company.
basically the style
I have
guide.
the digital identity. This cannot say that again. Sorry.
I think the style guide is what you mean, right?
Yeah.
Their branding
This is my
guide.
identity guide, corporate. Yeah, branding guide, identity guide. So they give you exactly what it is. You just work on it because you cannot change the style of the big guy. They don't want you to change. This is our style. This is how I want. And once you got that out, you're free.
I think the last few things I want to go over, now that you're kind of been in Flutter for some time, is basically what kind of tips would you give for people who are beginning Flutter or interested to actually start looking at Flutter?
Oh, you just start up. You just have to do it because I don't know your background is. For me, it's just like, oh, I can do what I download the Flutter. I say, well, Flutter daughter, Flutter doctor, and tell me what's wrong with it. And next day, I already typing out like most of the stuff. I already like just do it. Literally, I can just do it out next day. So
Mm.
I mean, the more time you work on it, well, it's kind of stupid things, right? But the thing about learning how to do something not familiar, you have to keep it simple. You know,
Mm.
keep the whatever you do simple. Like you have, for me, I like simple things. I simple thing works. Oh, it is a simple thing works. I'm happy. I'm happy, and then I will work on something bigger, right? And then, or once you have like thousands of success, like 1,000 simple thing works, then you get a complete app, right? That's serious. Like you cannot make an app in a couple hours. Well, I can, but you cannot, right? But then you work on
Mm.
something simple, like one screen, two screen. Oh shit, this will work. Looks really nice too. And then I'll work on more complicated. Hey, you know what? I done it over 1,000 times. I'm so sick of it. Then I will think about, oh, how do I reuse some of my code, right? Some of my knowledge, so I can make myself a little bit easier to work with. And then you move on with a different aspect of the app. So where we informed about programming or any languages, you have to be very good at your intention. I
Mm.
do lots of code review with some colleagues and people, right? I mean, seriously, like I'm asking, what is your intention? Like what kind of stuff you try to do in here? It looks pretty messed up. You can do it in probably 5 lines, but how the hell you got to do like 20,000 lines? I mean,
Mm.
what's your intention? Your intention to simplify. If it's simple as couple lines, it's good. It's really good. So I can read. I'll say, oh, it looks like you figure out this and that. That's I can give you 5 of 10. And then I would see something like, whoa, that's like 2,000 line per doc file. So I say, whoa, I can't read that. I would give you like 2, but it works, right? So
Mm.
basically, as simple as possible to work your way through it, so people actually can go in. They don't have the time. Seriously, if that's it's just UI code take you like 5 minutes. It's way too long. I'm saying I'm sorry, man. I couldn't do it. Break down, and then I would come back to look at is this 5 line or is it 10 line? Oh, that's pretty good. Or
Mm.
reasonable size. So in C sharp we have a strict rule for that kind of a thing. So C sharp actually really good about the design pattern. We talked about what's the naming convention. We talked about why is it the state or how do you define class, the class name, why we have fat client, fat model, fat, well, we got all kind of philosophy. It's from a C
Mm.
sharp point of view. The C sharp been for so long. So I got the best, well, not the best, I got suggestion about how they do it, and I just migrated and bought it. So is it good tips or?
It's all up to you, right? I can't tell you what's good or not, right? Just what you think is a good tip to give to a beginner.
Oh, I mean, it's good
Yeah,
enough.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because it's a good tip
It's good. Basically, just get out there and do it, right? And I think that's what most people are saying. Just do it, and it's with
with
any skill.
simple attention. Your attention, like your because IntelliJ, the ID itself,
Yeah.
is actually based on intention. We got telesense is based on our attention, like what kind of things you want to accomplish in
Mm.
that single files, right? So no, go do it, but with simple attention.
Mm.
One file, one fucking thing. Don't don't mess it up. Too much thing will hurt me. Hurt my
Yeah.
eyes. It's just one thing, one file, do it, and then we come back, look at it, give some review. Oh, this is good. This is not too good. We give comments, say this is how I want.
Okay. I think that's pretty good tips. No, I agree. All right. Well, I think we're just about out of time. Sorry that I know you got a lot more things to discuss. So if you ever want, I mean, if you ever want to come back and give some more, if you talk about some more things, just feel free to reach out to me. Of course, you know how to get to me, right? Otherwise,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you have anything else you want to say or anything else you want to plug, now would be the time to do it.
I have a lot, so but it depends what people want to hear. Because I'm doing for so long though. It's just we can talk about every single thing and
Mm,
why the way I choose it to be. Because I own two startups, so I basically make decisions based on my knowledge. Right? So I really
mm,
like to have people call me saying, "Hey, this is wrong," and I'm more than happy people say, to tell me I'm wrong because I can
mm.
think, oh, yeah, maybe you're right, so I can improve myself. I'm
Yeah,
willing to actually accept any comment. People will say, hey, or people actually have, I don't know, their what the hell is it called? Opinionated. So opinionated
yeah,
framework, like how opinionated are you so I really love those like judgment because it's in Python. We got the pydantic thingy. In C sharp we got our design pattern. In Dart, while we do have some sort of design pattern state management, but still not not confirmed yet because we were used to say at the beginning, why it's changing. Well, it's up to you guys because we got is that getx or the location
yeah.
pattern and all
Hmm.
your other crazy stuff. Those are good. I'm serious. I think those are good. Like the report, it's kind of cool too. But what kind of problem does it solve? I already solved my problem. So what kind of problem are they solving? Right? I already solved my problem that works for me really well. So why are they solving?
Mm,
Right? I'm saying not the best, but Bob hasn't solved my problem. I'm more than happy to keep using it. So what else is the problem? I don't have any problem because those are like pattern have dependency. They have inter underlying dependency.
mm.
If you go in production with something not tested or not used to, you'll be in problem because you're the one going to fix. So I don't want to take that risk. That's why I'm saying Bob pattern.
Okay. Yeah, I so far I'm pretty happy with Blackpen too myself, but I've been also taking a look at RiverPod. It looks pretty interesting too, so I have to take a look at that a little bit deeper before I make my final choice.
Yeah, that was without context. I think it solved the problem without context. Yeah, that one's kind of cool too. But I think that's a little bit more work on the thing, so I didn't pay close attention to it.
Okay. Well, again, thank you for your time. Feel free to reach out
Thank
if you
you.
want to do some more, or I'll come out and find
Sure.
you.
Yeah.
So,
Let me know.
all right.
Stay safe,
Thank you so
Alan.
much. You too.
Yeah. Bye.